Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So guys, picture this, yeah? Imagine going into a country, you meet a guy or you meet a group of friends and you want to connect with them, right? And then this guy that you met is very, very much interested in spending time with you to the point where they invite you to a first date or something like that. Yeah? You go on to your first date, you have a good time, you know, you order something to eat, nothing expensive, nothing luxurious. Maybe it could go down to a plate of hamburger, right? Only for you to go back home and be slapped with something called a tikkie. That's like a version of
A bill.
You get
from
slapped from your friend, or let's just focus on the boyfriend. The boyfriend who was interested in spending time with you and getting to know you better, yeah? They slap you with a bill of 20 cents.
And then another day you decide to go to this person's home, right? You just Netflix and chill. Guys, you just Netflix and chill. He's already paid for that Netflix. You're just chilling and watching Netflix.
And having a good time, yeah?
And then when you go home, he calculates the time up to the last minute you spent in his house, and then he sends you a bill of how much you
all 3 hours, and this is how much you owe him for watching Netflix in his house,
in his TV.
I know this sounds outrageous, but there's a place that this practice actually exists, and this is Netherlands, the Dutch people. Have you guys ever heard about this saying, let's go Dutch? Well, this is what they mean,
right? So in today's episode, we're going to be listening to some of the culture shocks that Americans and other foreigners got when they were in Dutchland, yeah?
Right.
And they were sent a tikkie without expecting. And this is quite frankly a culture shock even to us, because here in Africa that behavior doesn't exist.
Yeah,
if I'm going to treat you out for lunch, I won't follow you with a tikkie.
Yeah.
I will pay for the whole thing and forget about it.
Unless we have agreed as a group of friends, this one is going to hold the bill and I'm going to split it. But if I'm the one inviting you out, I don't know if you're broke or not.
Yeah, and I have the urge of seeing you that day, and I am in a good financial place to pay for both of our meals, I'm going to do it without asking you to do so.
Right, but as we say, we listen but we don't judge, but do we? Anyway guys, let's watch and then we come back and talk about it. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch.
Dutch people are very greedy. No, not greedy. That's not the word.
Frugal. You don't want to spend money on things.
Yeah, we don't. We really don't. I have received tikkies for using a bit of their mayonnaise or a fruit. I think I ate 2 bananas at somebody's house and they sent me a tikkie of €1. And then once I'm dining out, you had to pay for these little sackets mayonnaise. We split the bill, but she paid for the mayonnaise and then she sent me 20 cents for the mayonnaise.
And were these your friends?
Were, yeah.
What was your reaction to that?
I wasn't surprised because I know how cheap we can get. That cheap, that's another level.
So I've lived in the Netherlands for a few years now, and if there was one cultural mannerism that you absolutely need to know, it's this. So for example, if you're going to like a restaurant or a club with some Dutch friends of yours, and one person pays the bill, you can expect to receive the next morning what's called a tikkie. Basically what it is a request from your friend to transfer a certain amount of money into their bank account. But don't expect just tikkies for restaurants or clubs. I've also had friends of mine that have sent me tikkies for parking fees. Like legit, €1.50. If one of your friends says, "Ik ga je een tikkie sturen," that means you have to pay.
I was invited for brunch once. It was like a bagel per person and not more. No extras, you know. And I used to live in the US. There's like tons of food. Everyone's invited. And the biggest fear is that you think, I don't have food for everyone and someone goes home hungry. That definitely doesn't translate here. I've gotten like tikkie before for like dinner with Dutch friends at their house. Dutch weddings, you're invited to only the ceremony and then you have to leave before the dinner. Or you're not invited to the ceremony, you just come for the dinner. I've noticed like new people, I was like, what's happening? They're like, oh, they're the dinner group. And you're like, oh, there's 2 groups? Which was super weird to me.
Heard a story from a Dutch friend. She was invited to another Dutch friend's house. After drinking a glass of wine, the friend had sent her a tikkie for that glass of wine. I was also told of stories where a host would throw a dinner party and then send out a tikkie to each person for the amount of food that they had.
Is this true?
100% true.
Yep. If you have just a general dinner party, then you could send out tikkie.
Yes, I've heard about this, and I've heard if you want more food, they don't like let you take a second plate.
If we are hosting it, we're paying it. But we see with other friends that they ask if we want to share the bill.
Maybe if it's like with 10 couples or something, people can send a tikkie.
Some of the people are typically really Dutch, always go Dutch for everything. We are not the stereotype.
I was a bit hungry at his house, asked if I could grab an apple from the fruit bowl. When I got home, he sent me a tikkie for the apple. I heard a story of a friend that was sent a tikkie for the time she watched Netflix with a guy that she was hooking up with. The lad calculated the rate per hour and then charged her for the 3 hours they watched together. €1 for a chocolate chip cookie my roommate baked and offered me one of those small dishwasher sponges. 7 cents. So he offered this colleague a coffee and then he pulls out his cigarette, starts smoking and asks if I want one. Later that day, he sent me a tikkie. I had a date with a guy. He made me order food because he didn't want to eat alone. We ordered McDonald's. He offered to pay the bill. Next day, I received a €5 tikkie for my food, which he had offered to pay after insisting that I must order something. Eggs that your mother brought to your house. You would think it's a nice gesture and a gift. Then you receive the tikkie for €4. And someone answers, €4 tikkie for eggs from your own mother? That's tough.
Hey, are you gonna finish your sandwich?
I know, you can have it.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Oh wow, this is actually great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I already sent you a tikkie.
A what?
A tikkie? Because I paid for the bread and you ate half of it, so you owe me $8. Okay?
I guess, yeah, okay.
Heb je het gekregen? De tikkie?
In the Netherlands, we don't say, I had a nice day, let's do this again. We say, niet vergeten de tikkie te sturen, hè?
Ja, ja.
In the Netherlands, we don't say, it's on me. We say, I will send you a tikkie.
I send 5 cents tikkies too. Yeah, all the time. I hate it. You have to do it sometimes, especially when you're broke and you get a big meal. There's a place that does unlimited spare ribs, and then we always go Dutch. If you go to an expensive restaurant and you're with friends, then sometimes you go Dutch, because I mean, we're quite broke sometimes, but normally someone pays and then you just go out again and you pay for them. It's a circle. 5 cents.
For what? For a part of a croissant? A part of a croissant? Are you kidding me, really?
Yes. I've reciprocated. I'm going Dutch now as well. I send 5 cents tikkies too. I kind of got used to it.
No, I have not.
It means that you split the bill.
Yes, I have many times. Sometimes way too high. Sometimes like €5. No, not at all. Usually with my friends in Hungary, we go back and forth. We pay one for each other and then the other pays. Here they just split everything. They keep sending you tikkies. So maybe €30, I would split that. Lower than that, probably not.
The problem is they do not accept German bank accounts. It was so weird for me to get a tikkie. I was like, what is that? Depends on with whom you're. If somebody would send me 30 cents, I would be like, are we friends or are we enemies? Like, what is this?
So I think everyone in the Netherlands knows the app Tikkie. And if you don't know it, it's just like basically payment requests that you can send to your friends. And I was having a very heated discussion with my Dutch friend on the limit that you can send a Tikkie for. And we just had to settle this debate online. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think is like the least amount of money that you can send a Tikkie for? In my personal opinion, I said €5 was the amount. But in the past, I've received Tikkies for 60 cents. Yep. I'm not joking. So let me know in the comments what's your limit and what is the lowest amount you've ever received a Tikkie for.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the video compilation we just played you, yeah? So before we continue with our commentaries, just allow me to tell you a short story I heard of, yeah? So there was this lady from Uganda in Africa who got married.
Africa.
Yeah, who got married to a palm-colored person from Dutch, yeah? And she went there. So,
and mind you, when the Dutch person was marrying this Ugandan woman, he knew very well in Uganda she didn't have a job, and he knew very well in Uganda men cater for at least a bigger percentage of the bills.
Wait, are we talking about the same thing?
Okay, continue with you.
Yeah, so the one that I saw, she went to the Netherlands. Yeah, she started making friends and whatnot. So you know, in Africa, the culture is when you make friends with your neighbors, sometimes when you go to visit them at their homes,
it's
courteous
to go with something.
Also, yeah, it's courteous to go with something, and also the courtesy requires the host, the owner of the home, to provide something for your visitor, be it lunch, and if they want to leave when it's it's around lunchtime or in the evening, you encourage them to stay and have a meal with you. That's the culture, right?
In Africa.
Yeah, so this lady was talking about how she went to visit her neighbor who she had become friends with. The neighbor was palm colored, right? And then the neighbor, it became time, it was almost time for them to have lunch, and so she went outside to call her son. And when she came back inside, she told the Ugandan lady, I'm sorry, you have to go because we're about to have our lunch.
That is quite a culture shock for Africans, because Africans necessarily don't practice this kind of behavior. They they definitely will offer you something to eat when you go to visit them, and
even when it's not time to have
a meal, and they won't follow it up with give me this type of money so that you can share the cost. And if they don't have enough for you, they only have enough for the family, then make sure to share with you whatever they set aside for the family.
Right. So guys, coming back to the video, the first culture shock for me was when a speaker here was talking about how she went to visit her friend, and when she got home, she had a glass of wine in the friend's house, and she was followed by a tikkie. And guys, for those of you who maybe might not have heard, as it has been explained in the video, a tikkie is like,
it's like being sent part of the bill for whatever both of you have eaten.
Yeah, so it's like they're taking the restaurant system back even in their homes. And I'm like, does this not discourage socializing? Does it not discourage that?
I feel like it would discourage, because like, let's say for example, a person like me, I'm so used to a system where people are so generous with each other here in Africa. If I go to visit someone, I get meals for free. And then me, as a person coming from Africa, going to a place like that, I'll even feel like my friends are not my true friends, or they hate me for some reason.
Right. And then guys, another thing, somebody was talking about a friend of theirs who hosted a birthday party, right? And in this birthday party, there's somebody who talked about they went to visit a friend and they weren't allowed to eat past a certain amount, only one bagel and I don't know what. And even at that,
now is a bagel even a meal?
That's not a meal. If you're going to anyway, we listen but we don't judge. But all I'm saying is,
how did the Dutch people get to that point? Because I do understand taxations and all that what not, but to a point where it seems like human interaction is not humane,
it's being limited,
or it's transactional.
Of which, what happens in Africa is, for example, let's say Maureen is my friend, right? And because if I invite Maureen to go out with me because I want to enjoy her company, right? I'll invite her out. If Maureen doesn't have money, cause
Maureen will cover the bill, and she won't follow me home and ask me to pay for the part of the food I ate because she covered the bill when I didn't have money.
Right.
That will be gone and forgotten like that.
Yeah, and I'm the one who invited her out. Unless it's such a situation where both of you come up with an idea to go out, then both of you order, and it's clear
everybody
that
will take care of
their own bill. If that's not the case, you agree. If I'm paying this time round, next time we go out,
outing.
Now that is something else. But what I've seen from these clips, they offer to pay, but they're not really paying.
They'll follow it up with a tikkie. Someone go even as low as giving a 20-cent tikkie.
I feel like
you can't even forgive a 20-cent debt.
I feel like this is encouraging not
individualism,
and I also feel like it's encouraging a cheapskate behavior. Sorry for saying, I don't intend to insult anybody, but like I've seen these tikkie stories go to the pettiest levels,
which makes me wonder now. Okay, there's even an app that has been invented so that people can ask for you to pay the part of the wine you took from their homes. So it makes me wonder, what would the situation look like if I'm unable to pay and I refuse to pay for that 20-cent?
It's what I'm saying. This one is discouraging socializing, because friendships will be broken.
So friendships will be broken. So those who live in Netherlands and the system, what happens to those people who refuse to pay those tickets?
Can't pay them?
Not
just once, but constantly.
But even for those who can't pay it once, what are some of the consequences? You guys, for those who live in Netherlands, what are the like some of the consequences you've seen people go through for not paying those tikkies.
Yeah, Americans, I'd like to hear from you, because I've heard stories of Americans who've gone to Netherlands and they didn't know this system, you know. And then for them, they talk about the first culture shock where they get into a restaurant, they have a meal with the person they've invited, and then when they get back home, they get slapped with a 20-cent tikkie, and they're like, you know, okay, my personal opinion is at least have that conversation with people. Don't assume people know your culture, you know. Maybe it will land softer if you explain to people, you know, this is what we normally do in Netherlands, and we do understand you have to do as the Romans do when you go to Rome. So maybe having that conversation about, because yeah, you could also say that people need to do their homeworks before they go into a certain country, but one thing is for sure is that you can't learn about everything before you go to a country. There are things that are gonna meet you as a shock.
There are things you learn on the ground. Yeah, so I really would like to know when this started, but most probably my guess would be because of high taxation and stuff like that.
It's what some of them kept on saying on TikTok, that it's because of the high cost of living in Netherlands, so you have to share everything, you know. But I'm like, this is making you live like, you know, not, I don't know how to put it, you know, it's making relationships become so plasticky, not like real connections, because everything is based on money, even a little, down to a little piece of bagel. If I share a hamburger with you, Maureen, I can't just eat my hamburger without, I'd rather order mine in that case, you know.
So guys, let us know what you think about this episode down on the comment section, and we'll see you on our next episode. But please, before you go, consider subscribing if you are new to this channel. We'll see you on our other episode.